Hey everyone, welcome back to the workshop. Artisan Pirate here, and in today's fun scroll saw project video, have a nice Thanksgiving design by Steve Good. I've already got the pattern printed out to its full size, prepped and attached to our material with clear packing tape. If you guys remember, we made the beautiful Thanksgiving candle holder for a centerpiece for the Thanksgiving meal. And of course, Thanksgiving is one of my favorite times of year because the whole family gathers under one roof and we share a great home cooked meal. Everyone brings their specialty dish, and the table is usually groaning under the weight of all the food because we always go above and beyond. But it's where we are not rushing to dress up or, bring a gift or anything. We just gather under the roof and fellowship with our loved ones and our family. So that's what I always look forward to. This is also a Thanksgiving piece of decor that we're going to be making, and it's going to be a door topper. It sits at a right angle on top of a door casing, but it might also be able to be put on a shelf or countertop and a piece hang down the side of it, ever how you want to interpret the design being finished. But I've got 3 scrap pieces of 1/4-inch material here, and the reason they are cut out at weird pieces like this is because I was trying to prep everything out of one single piece of scrap 1/4-inch material. But it's going to have 2 layers. The top layer here is going to have a pilgrim, and you see that sharp right angle where it will sit on a door casing. And then you have the next layer that has the Thanksgiving turkey on it and these bubble indentations all the way around that right angle, because that's where the individual letters of Happy and Thanksgiving are going to go. Happy Thanksgiving is going to end up like that, and you're going to cut out all of the letters individually, and it's going to be some tedious cuts because it's 1/4-inch material and these pieces are going to be very fragile. But I'll do what I always do, and I'll take my time and let the blade do the work. And anytime I cut out small individual pieces like this, what I like to do is take some basic blue painter's tape and mask off the hole where the scroll saw blade goes through to have a zero clearance insert, so to speak. That way, when you are cutting out these letters and you get them fully released, they will not fall down through that hole and potentially get lost on the shop or garage floor wherever you are cutting it out. Also, whenever I'm cutting out small pieces, I always have a little parts bin off to my side to where I can keep track of everything. I've got a photo of the finished design saved here to my phone that was in Steve Good's pattern pack. You can see what we are going for in the representation there that Steve Good offers. He always goes above and beyond and has a picture of the finished project, and I'll use this to help assemble the project when we get to those stages. I don't know if I'm going to go with the colors he picked out there. I will see what I have on hand out here in the workshop, but since everything is prepped and prepared, let's move the camera, drill all the pilot holes required so we can head over to the scroll saw and start scrolling. And over here on the workbench, I'm taking the Seiko Scroller's drill and drilling out all of the pilot holes for internal cutting. Not very many on this project, but then we will proceed to the scroll saw and begin scrolling. I will do this one internal cut on the L bracket before releasing it from the waste wood. And for all of the scrolling on this project, I'll be using a number 5 Ultra reverse tooth blade, and it will cut through the thin 1/4-inch material that we are using exceptionally well with minimal chip out. I am, of course, being as loyal as I possibly can be to the cut line, because with the nature of this project being 2 L-shaped brackets, you want them to line up perfectly and seamlessly once you get to the assembly process. But now we will cut out the other L-shaped bracket, and if you guys would like to try this design, it's available as a free pattern download over at Steve Good's scrollsawworkshop.blogspot.com website over in his free pattern catalog. And it is one of his older designs. And before cutting out the letters, I'm taking some basic blue painter's tape and masking off the blade entry hole on the scroll saw table to create a zero clearance insert. This will prevent the small letters from falling through that hole and getting potentially lost or broken. But now I can begin releasing them individually, and you will see that I have my little parts bin off to the side where I can collect the pieces as I cut them out to where I don't lose track of any of them. And you can see that the blue painter's tape is doing its job preventing those pieces from falling through and getting lost. And if you have a variable speed scroll saw, you might want to slow it down to cut out the letters to have a little bit better control. But with my years of scroll saw woodworking, I am confident with the speed I am working at here. Just taking my time and letting the blade do the work. And now we are almost done with all of the scroll saw work. And if you guys like what you're seeing, I would highly encourage you to subscribe to my channel and also follow me across all my social media feeds under the Artisan Pirate name. I'd really appreciate the support. And it doesn't take long at all to cut this project out from start to finish. I knew going into this project the time involved mostly would be waiting for paint to dry, which we will get to that part momentarily. Removing that blue painter's tape, it doesn't leave any kind of sticky residue behind. But now we will get our first visual glimpse of what the finished project will look like. And I always like lining up a project like this after I'm done, just to get that first visual and get finishing ideas in my head. And it does look nice, just as natural would, but again we will be adding a splash of fall and autumn colors to it. But now it will be time for sanding, and I will sand the two L-shaped brackets with 180 grit Klingspor Woodworking Shop sandpaper in the vibrating palm sander here. And for all of the individual letters, I will sand each of those by hand with a sanding pad here. And I'm just sanding the front and back here. It does take a little bit of time to do this, but it's worth it to remove all of the excess sawdust and fuzzies from over at the scroll saw. And this is a high grit Klingspor sandpaper I have in this little palm sander. But now we can begin to add a splash of color, and I'll use a piece of cardboard here to shield the two pieces here to prevent the paint from getting on the other piece. And this is Rust-Oleum spray paint. And for all of the individual letters, I will use more blue painter's tape, and I'll lay it down sticky side up on this work stool, and I'll press all the letters home on it. This locks them all in place for painting purposes and prevents them from blowing away when I paint them with spray paint. And when they completely dry, they will peel away like a post-it note. So a really cool little trick for painting small pieces. But after everything dries, it'll be time for the assembly process. And the two L-shaped brackets I am gluing with medium grade CA glue and activator. And I will carefully line them up before spraying that activator. And I'll set this piece aside for around 5 minutes to make sure that glue completely cures. But for all of the letters, I'll be using Gorilla Wood glue. This will give me a little bit more time to work with to make sure all of the letters are lined up. And you can see how they are peeling off of the blue painter's tape. And I have a picture of the finished project saved on my phone from Steve Good's pattern pack. But I will line everything up here in happy. And when I'm happy with it, I'll walk away and let it cure for around 5 minutes to make sure that glue has grabbed properly. And then I'll come back and repeat the process with the word Thanksgiving. It only took me around 25 minutes to scroll the project out completely, but it took a few hours for all of the paint to dry. So all in all, I have a good morning's work out in the workshop completing this Thanksgiving piece of decoration. But once I am happy with everything, I will set it in front of a heater to help accelerate the glue's drying time. Of course, the paint has already dried at this point. But when the glue had completely cured, I took it outside into the beautiful fall weather and gave it several coats of Rust-Oleum clear gloss for a finish and protection. And it really made those fall colors pop. And after it dried, you can see where the project will live during the Thanksgiving season, above a door bracket in the family kitchen. Thank you all for watching. And here we have the completed Happy Thanksgiving door topper piece, cut out completely over on the scroll saw, and it finished up beautifully with some nice and crisp Thanksgiving decor featured in it. Really, really neat. Thank you, Steve Good, for another fantastic design from your pattern catalog. Once again, this is one of his older pattern offerings. I just like to go through the pattern catalog from time to time and bring some of his older designs, such as this, to life over here on the channel. But really, really cool. Everything is nice and crisp here. You can see the pilgrim, you can see the turkey, and the words Happy and Thanksgiving are easily legible, and you can easily read them. It took me around 25 minutes to scroll everything out completely completely from start to finish. It's not an overly complex design, and it uses very minimal material. It's only a few pieces of scrap 1/4 inch material that I have here in my hand that made up today's project. The time that I had in today's project, now that we are in the cooler months, was waiting for everything to dry. Once I sanded everything and painted everything, it took a lot longer for the spray paint to dry, and then when I glued everything up, I had to wait for the glue to dry, and then of course when I clear coated it, I had to also wait for that to dry. So I have a good morning's work out here in the workshop, and I have this nice little Thanksgiving door topper to show for my efforts. But I hope you guys enjoyed some of the tips that I shared in today's video, such as using the blue painter's tape to mask off the blade entry hole over on the scroll saw table to make a zero clearance insert to where none of the small pieces in these delicate letters could fall through and break or potentially get lost on your shop or garage floor or roll up under a workbench. And also the blue painter's tape trick for painting small pieces such as the individual letters. You can see where I use that blue, the lighter blue of the paint tape is still shining through there, and I use this tip a lot for, you know, painting small pieces like this, not only at the scroll saw but also over at the laser. If I make a project that calls for that, this is the way to go, and it does not allow the pieces to be blown away while you are using your spray paint. You know, that wind that comes off of the spray paint can could blow those pieces away again down on the floor and potentially get lost. And then when everything dries, it basically peels off like a post-it note. And there is a few little slivers of wood there on the back side of the material, but as you can see, the face side of the piece came out nice and crisp. This 1/4 inch material I pick up at Lowe's Home Improvement. It scrolls exceptionally well with very minimal chip out. There's hardly ever any fuzzies to sand away, and upon closer inspection you can really see that. This almost looks like it was cut out of MDF material, but it was actually cut out of 1/4 inch plywood from Lowe's. So really cool. I finished this in a standard fall foliage color. I went with a burgundy for the pilgrim piece, an orange for the turkey piece and backer board, and then I was going to do the letters brown, but I didn't have no brown spray paint out here. I will be getting a can, so I'll have it in case I do another project like this, but I did it a nice tropical Nantucket blue color to share my love of the beach with this fall decor piece. And you guys seen in the video how it easily represents on the top of a door casing, so people can see it either entering or leaving a house, a business, or wherever you decide to place this. But I feel also that if you would cut this out of some thicker material, maybe 1/2 inch material, you could also put this on a shelf or a countertop, or maybe even a desk. If you work at an office and you face people, it could sit there on the front with Thanksgiving hanging down the side. I always encourage people to think outside of the box when it comes to each and every scroll saw project that they come across. But I'm really happy with how this project finished up, and the Rust-Oleum clear gloss we added at the end really give it a nice glossy sheen there that I really like, and it's going to be just an eye-catching piece of decor when we are entering or leaving the door that I put it on top of. So now we have 2 Thanksgiving projects for 2024, and now we will transition into Christmas designs to finish out the year with before I take my yearly break. But I hope in some way, shape, or form you picked up a tip or tidbit along the way, and I hope you guys enjoyed watching me make this Happy Thanksgiving scroll saw project. Happy Thanksgiving to all my family, friends, followers, and subscribers. I truly appreciate you all for helping me get to where I am over here on the platform, and I hope you all enjoyed a great home-cooked meal with your loved ones. That's about all for this one. If you're new to the channel, hopefully you'll click that subscribe button and also follow me across all my social media feeds under the Artisan Pirate name. As always, links to contact me as well as all my social media feeds will always be linked down in the description box below these videos. That's about all for this one, and remember guys, if I can make it or do it, so can you. I'm the Artisan Pirate. Take care, and I'll see you guys real soon.